I'm David here at Qatium, so Director of Customer Success, and I'm really glad to have you watching that webinar. So seeing that we have people that are still joining as the webinar is going on, but we won't wait for them any longer. So let's get this show on the road. Like Yara said, I'll start just a little bit for those who haven't seen the previous webinars or haven't heard about Qatium before. Tell you a little bit about what we do, and then get deeper into the product and the solution, and show you about the platform and so on. And can't wait to see what questions you have at the end. So Qatium, what is it? Qatium is a digital water management platform. What does that mean? So what we want to do, our mission is really to take the technology that's out there and bring it to all utilities, big and small. It doesn't matter whether you're a large utilities that sometimes the staff actually cover is the size of a small utility or larger. So our largest customers have, I don't know, around like 5,000 people on staff, and our smallest utilities actually have less than 2,000 inhabitants and customers that they actually serve and in population, right? So really trying to provide a tool that helps everyone and that everyone can benefit from. So going a little bit deeper into what do we do, what does that mean, what is a water management platform? So really the idea is to combine all the information that you have, digitalize it, right? So create a one version of all your data. So whether it's GIS data, whether it is hydraulic model, or whether it's AMI, SCADA data, any kind of sensor information, readings, and so on. So the idea is to combine all this information and to make it in an actionable platform, an actionable map, as you'll see in a couple of minutes. We really want to think about operators when we're in that platform. So the idea is really to think about, okay, what are we doing? What is the state of my network right now? What was the state of my network a few days ago, a few months ago, a few years ago? And how can I improve on the operations? How can I make sure that I am impacting the least customer possible? How can I make sure that I have all the answers to the question that I might have in my head, like, how do I isolate the pipe, which is the theme of today, right? Watermain shutdown. And the last thing that I would mention about Qatium in general is really to customize, right? So the idea that we want a platform that fits all the needs of everyone. We're not trying to build something that's very generic, that doesn't provide much value. On the contrary, we want to provide the really good base, but also go deep into use cases and so on for various utilities, whether it's the many of the few. So really empower people to be able to do that and to build on top of Qatium and create their own scenarios and their own insights. So just repeating a little bit what I was saying, right, is like the first step is really build a digital replica. So in order to do that, we really start with getting in your more static data, I would say. So hydraulic model, GIS data, combining both, right? So whether it could be also only GIS data, it could also be models, but we also can do both, right? So it's like combining those two data sources to have like the best of both worlds, right? So on one side, you probably have your planning models that are being renewed every 5 years, or every master plan, or every critical study, hydraulic modeling study that you might do. And then on the other side, you have your GIS data. Usually tends to be updated more often, sometimes connected or not to a CMMS, so work orders coming in and allowing you to updates on your network. And on to that, so in order to really streamline daily operations, or what we recommend, obviously it's recommendation is to add what we call live data. So readings, whether that comes from AMI, SCADA data, any pressure or DMA sensors, really anything that would give a better understanding of what is happening here and now. That from our standpoint here and now is happening now, but in the future, you might go back and want to look at those kind of events and say, okay, well, we actually didn't respond in an ideal way. Was there any other option? And can we improve from potential failures or potential issues that have happened in the past? So that's where we grab also the live data, the readings data, and add some additional analytics onto it, like warnings that you can see in the screen. So really the idea to have like awareness of what is happening in your network and to allow you to optimize the performance, like through simulations and scenarios. So what we call scenarios in Qatium is basically being able to answer what if questions, right? So being able to answer what happens if I close that valve, what happens if I change the status of my pump, change the setting of my PRV, and so on. So from that point, it creates a scenario, so another version of your network, and you're being able to compare to the best scenario, and this therefore improve on operations and have a better understanding of what happens. So going deeper into the use cases, so you can see here, there's a lot of things on the screen, a lot of words, but what we're going to focus on right now is watermain shutdown, but it is not the only thing that we do. So we do watermain shutdown very well, and you'll see that in a few minutes. But we can help also to create a real-time model, manage system pressures, flushing. If you haven't seen it yet, so I recommend watch our previous videos about flushing and about managing tank autonomy. But we also can help out on managing demand and fire flows. So without any further ado, because I want to be conscious of time and allow some questions at the end, I'll dive into the demo. So I know some of you probably would have seen it 1,000 times already, but this is our favorite network at Qatium. So it's our demo network, so called Magnetic Island. So here we are on the northeast coast of Australia. That's why you might see some metric units for all those that are based in the States and might not be familiar with it. For all probably most of the rest of the world, those are probably going to be familiar units. And for any questions, yes, we can handle US units. It really depends on the network where it is, and then the default is going to be applied depending on where your network is. So let's start with a little fresh overview of what Qatium is and how it looks. So here you can see it's a map view. A lot of things in the map. So blue icons, those are sensors. They allow Qatium to calculate the network accuracy that you probably are wondering, what is that 91% on the top? And that's basically trying to reflect on what is the accuracy of the network. The accuracy doesn't always compare to whether the model or the network itself is accurate or not, but actually whether something is happening in the network, right? So is something out of the ordinary happening in the network? And just for everyone wondering, what is a good score for accuracy? So we tend to recommend above 75%. It is quite hard to calibrate model on live data and so on, making the model and so on. But yeah, so this is a demo model. Don't always use this as a reference point when you're actually calibrating your model, or when your consultant is giving you a model. We're not getting 99% accuracy with your live data. Without going down the rabbit hole on modeling and so on, a little bit tour of the interface. So I mentioned the blue icons are are sensors, and those hexagons are pressures. So it can turn it on and off right here. We can also filter them out, so focus on a particular range of pressure, and this will be quite useful in the water main shutdown scenario. We have the flows. So if I just zoom in a little bit, you can see really those flow animations, and this really represents how the flow is going into the network. So it's part of the results from the simulation, because Qatium runs on hydraulic simulation at every time step of the day and at every change that is made in the network. So without further ado, I won't go through every single feature that we have. I think that those are the main ones. A couple more that I wanted to talk about is the satellite view and demand spine, that I think you'll find quite useful for any scenario on top of just modifying assets. So I am going to start a shutdown. So just selected the shutdown mode from our work modes here on the left. So you can see that my background map changed. So I am the zone that appeared, not out of thin air, but it's already data information that we have here. Can control the layer here on the left-hand side in the network elements. So I'm going to say that I want to perform a shutdown. So a shutdown essentially isolating a pipe. And I'm going to select that pipe. I can see that I have a lot of information about that pipe, whether it's diameter, materials, installation, also the flow, velocity, unit loss, and status of the pipe. And on the right-hand side, I have the shutdown panel. Just came on when I choose that work mode. So I'm just going to flick the switch, so to speak, and lo and behold, so Qatium basically traced down to the valve. You can see here in the information panel that you have here that the status of the pipe is unsupplied. And so with those, with this action, I've unsupplied the pipe. I've traced down to the isolation valve. So which are the valves that need to be need to be operated and need to be closed in order to isolate that piece of main. You can see that on the right-hand side in that panel, I can hover on them. I can also zoom to one or the other. Here they're quite close, so you can really see the highlights when hovering it, and I can mark them as inoperable. As you might be already familiar, when you go to the field, and all kind of things can happen, including the valves not being inoperable for maybe reasons of being broken, because a truck, a lorry is parked on top because it's actually in a private property, and here's the surprise, or it's been paved over on the last refurbishment of the road, whatever it may be. So being able to very quickly understand, okay, what are my other options? And so when I mark this valve inoperable, it traces directly to that valve here that we have, and basically close that down. This had an impact, obviously, to expand on the area that got isolated. So in blue is my isolated properties, my isolated areas, and you can see that at the bottom right in my panel, in my shutdown panel. So supply interruptions, you can see that I have one property now in that isolated area. Before I didn't have any. And then I have 18 properties with an elevatable alternative supply. So what does that mean? It means that there are some what we call alternative supply valves that are actually operable and available to me in order to bring back water to those 18 properties out of the 19 ones that were originally isolated. How can I tell? What can I see? So I can bring back my pressures just to have a better view of the situation. But you can see here that all the pipes that are grayed out are the pipe that are isolated. So pretty straightforward. And if I hover on those valves, those alternative valve, I can see them getting highlighted. I can zoom in to actually identify better what are the conditions of that isolation, potentially evaluate what is the pressure on the other side. Is it a pressure? It is a DMA valve, so but is there a difference in pressure, and therefore is there a risk associated to that? Securing that, I can basically open that valve, and by opening that valve, I can see the result is that I only have this this one property that is being isolated, and which is within that blue area. So I can see all the gray pipes that were originally in there that are now getting some flows, but we're not done yet, right? So properties are getting water, but is it enough pressure? So that's where my pressure panel is going to come in handy again, and where I can even try to target to see which are the junctions and the customer points in the network that are getting low pressure. So here I'm looking at below 20 meters per of pressure, or around 30 psi. And so I can see here that in my area, I don't have any customer point that is impacted, except that one customer point, which is actually within the isolated area. So that is my one isolated property. So that all works for me. So I'm getting great alternative for my operation. I can carry on. I can even go on the fly and carry out alternative scenarios. So to try to mitigate all those impacts, and I can also compare all this information that I have right now with my base network. So just clicking here on the left-hand side in my network version onto my network. So it will compare the base network, the current situation, with the scenario, and I can see that I actually don't have really any impact on my pressure except at that point. So we can get some more information at the zone level. You can imagine that with those zone polygons, like we're getting some additional information. So you can see what is the minimum pressure at a not only the customer point level, but also at any junction. And so that allows us to verify that we don't have extreme pressure. So are we not endangering any infrastructure into the network? And we can see that at a zone level, but also at the whole network through the panel. And that's it, folks. I know that we have 5 minutes left. I hope it's enough for a couple of questions. I don't know if anything has come through. Yara, do you have anything on your side?
We have one, so let me just pull that up. Go ahead.
Brilliant, thanks. So I see that some people are using GIS to do similar things, and kind of wanting to know what is the difference between Qatium and GIS. So that's an excellent question. So GIS can do tracing and will be able to trace down the valves and potentially which are the impacted customer within this isolation valves, right, within the area, but won't be able to give you any insights on, okay, what are the other customers that are impacted by pressure? Is the pressure sufficient for those customers? And do all those kind of dynamic scenarios that actually is beneficial from the hydraulic modeling. So yeah, GIS can be part of the answer, but not the full solution. And so yeah, we're trying to make all those insights from hydraulic modeling and potentially live data, very very accessible. So it looks like JS, but actually it has a lot of power under the hood, so to speak.
Brilliant. We have one more that popped in here. Gonna pop it up on the screen.
Awesome, thanks. So do I need live data to for this to work? And the short answer is no. So here we're in a demo model, and we do a lot of demo with that particular model, including live data demos. So that is the reason we have live data in this model, but in this network, sorry. But it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory to be able to perform a watermain shutdown, to be able to accurately understand what would be the impact on the customers. So as long as your model is calibrated, then and that be all you need so far. Obviously, for the here and now, we recommend to have live data, obviously, but it's not a requisite. I see that there's one last questions, and it's can we list the properties or the customer impacted? So the short answer is not yet. I'm saying not yet because, and that's a good segue for my next slide before closing, which is Qatium is a platform, and we want to be able to tailor all solutions for all utilities. And so for that purpose, basically we allow people to extend and to build upon Qatium. And so although right now we're not providing a list, it is possible to do through the SDK and through the marketplace. And so what is that SDK marketplace? SDK stands for Software Development Kit. And marketplace, I think that most people would be familiar with an app store, whether it's on from Apple, from Google, Androids, or whatever other platform. And so the idea is really to have those modules that allow to have connectors to GIS or SCADA data, AMI, but also to have any kind of analytics on top of the ones that are provided out of the box from Qatium, right? So allowing third parties, integrators, casual coders, PhD students, or universities, or whomever it might be, to actually build on top of Qatium, build those plugins, and extend the functionalities and Qatium, and also obviously integrate some data, for example, into Qatium, builds on top of Qatium anything that might be able to provide a more tailored solution for all our users, for all of you out there that are watching this webinar. And I think that comes to a close. Just wanted to say thank you for attending. From the customer success team, please join Qatium, join the community. I'm sure that not only the customer success team, but everyone at Qatium will be happy to help out, whether it's on your plugins journey, whether it's on your watermain shutdowns, tentatives and scenarios, and so yeah, that's about it on my side.